So I'm sure you guys have heard about the Enneagram as in the personality test, right? Okay. This is what it was originally designed for before it got brought to the West and became popularized as a personality tool. And this is a sacred symbol that was handed down to this guy called Gurdjieff. Okay. Now, Gurdjieff is one of my favorite spiritual teachers because he's known as the rascal. He's known as like being a bit eccentric because he would literally go around and like push people or try to get a reaction out of people to prove that they were basically sleepwalking through their life. And he would try to get this reaction out of them to say, like, literally, wake up. And now for us, the spiritual information is so like easily available, right? It's like at our fingertips. But back then, like in the 1890s, he was on a farm in Armenia and he just had this inner knowing, like many of us do, like any true seeker, that there was more to the human potential, that there was a secret to how reality worked. There was a key, there was hidden wisdom, there was hidden knowledge that was hidden from most people. And he just knew that it existed and he had to find it. And so, if you can imagine, like, for a second, what that is like being on a farm, no social media, no internet, and you just have this inner knowing that you need to go out and search for information. So, he heard about these hidden libraries in the Middle East. He heard about these like monasteries in Tibet and these elite esoteric schools that were extremely hard to find and extremely hard to get into by design, right? Because this knowledge was hidden for a reason, it was protected. So he traveled through Asia, traveled through Africa, he ended up in the Middle East. And he started studying with the Sufi Brotherhood. And in one of the brotherhoods, they initiated him into the symbol. And at that time, this teaching, this initiation had been handed down verbally from one person to the other. And it was only handed down to somebody when they were ready to hear it. So I like to bring this up before I teach it. This is not just any teaching. There is a lineage to it. There is a deep history to it. And I just wanted to like honor that and where it came from. And that this information, this symbol is sacred and it is so layered. So I discovered it in January 2025, only a year and a half ago. And I found the only teacher who was teaching about it online at the time. And I studied with her. And I studied for 1 year, just this symbol. And then, still today, I find that there's new layers, there's new meanings, there's new like aha moments, like, oh, this is what that meant. Oh, this is what that meant. So it's just like deeper and deeper and deeper integration. The learning from the symbol like never ends. It is so deep and so layered and so encoded that we could talk about it literally for days, okay, weeks. But what I'm going to do tonight is like an introduction into what I think are going to be the most useful and helpful keys to unlocking wherever you are in your journey. This symbol can be used if you are on a personal transformation journey, a spiritual journey, building an offer, building out a business, anything that you want to create, you can take the symbol and use it as a roadmap to say, like, okay, where am I in the process? What do I need to do next? What's coming up so I can prepare? And they say that the definition of intelligence is knowing where you are, knowing where you are at. They're being honest, having some sort of reflection back to you, like, oh, this is where I'm at in this process. So it's a deep, powerful, potent symbol. Now, before we get started, does everybody have a piece of paper and a pen with them? Everybody have a piece of paper and a pen? Yeah, you got, okay, cool. Cool. Now, this session is going to be interactive, okay? It's not going to be a masterclass. I decided to make it a workshop because I want it to be interactive. So my first question for you before we get into the symbol is what do you want to create? And I need you to tell me in 3 words. No more, maximum 4. But what do you want to create in 3 words? And can you drop it in the chat? TikTok, I want 3 words for what do you want to create? So launch spiritual business, create beautiful art, embody higher self, build profitable healing center, become greatest teacher. What do you want to create? What are you bringing? Okay, beautiful. So we have Kigali, create beautiful art. Perfect. We have create beautiful art. Raise collective frequency. Okay, raise collective. Yes. Okay, that works. Yes. Okay, that's gonna be an interesting one. Launch spiritual business. Okay, beautiful. So I'm writing this down. Launch spiritual business, create beautiful art, raise collective frequency, launch transformational platform. Okay, perfect. Build, launch self. Beautiful. Okay. So you have your 3 words. Now what we need to do is we need to identify out of those 3 words, which one is neutral, which one is active, and which one is passive. Okay, this is the law of 3 in action. So when you look at this symbol, the first thing that you're going to notice is there is a triangle in the center of it. The triangle represents the law of 3, and the triangle is a sacred symbol that represents the 3 forces of all creation. You cannot have a creation without the 3 forces. It will collapse. It does not last. It requires 3 forces. So let's say you have a desire to embody higher self. Okay. Your neutral, what you're going to put here at point 0 and 9, is the thing that you will always come back to in your process. So if I say I want to embody my higher self, I'm always going to have to come back to the question of, am I embodying the next version? Am I embodying a higher version? Am I embodying the higher self? If I am going to launch a business or an offer, I'm always going to come back to relaunching, launching again. That's going to go at the top. If I'm going to build, I'm going to build, and then I'm going to rebuild. So I'm going to put build at the top. So at your point 9 is the neutral point that you are always going to come back to in your creative process. So create beautiful art, create would go at the top. Okay. The next point that you are going to identify, this is the easier one, is point 6. And this is always the desiring force. The desiring force is what you actually want. And this symbol is going to force you to get really honest about that. Because if you don't put what you really want at point 6, the whole process is not going to, it's going to get you what you want, but you have to be sure that that's what you want. So if you, like, for example, some people will say that they want something popular, something famous, and you can get fame, you can get popularity. But if what you really wanted, what you really desired was that your business could support you financially, then you should have said at point 6, profitability or success or money, right? Like say what you want, because this desiring force will impact the rest of the circle. So get really honest about whatever you're creating. What is the desiring force that you want behind it? Okay. So, for example, if you want to launch a spiritual business, do you want it to be a successful one, a profitable one, the world's greatest, the world's greatest? You could do Michael Jackson, become the world's greatest. Do you want it to be impactful, the most impactful? It doesn't matter how much money it makes, but it has to be as long as it's impacting. There's always a trade-off. So you want to identify like what is the true desire behind the business, okay? Behind what you want to create. Because then in point 3, this is always what will be transformed in the process. This is your passive point. What this means is if you want to build a profitable teaching business, profit is the desire that it's sustaining you financially. In order for that to be possible, your business is going to go through an evolution. Your business is going to be transformed because you are going to transform your business to best suit your clients' needs. So you're going to transform your business to best suit your clients' needs. So for example, if you were building a restaurant and you wanted to feed the customer, you can't change your customer. You can't change how much they buy, when they buy. You can't control your customer. So your restaurant has to go at point 3. Your restaurant has to go at point 3 because your restaurant, the menu, the food that you create, the prices that you sell your food at, how you market your business will be transformed in the process. And your desire is clients, is happy customers. So once you get the 3, the 6, and the 9 placed correctly on your Enneagram, the next step is we just fill in the gap. We just fill in the gap and we follow the roadmap. But it's very important that we get the 3, the 6, and the 9 placed. Okay. Okay. Can you do all 3? Can you do all 3? What does that mean? Okay. 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 Can you do all 3? Okay, maybe it gets answered along the way. Okay, cool. Now, let's go back to our Enneagram. Now, when we look at the beautiful triangle, the sacred triangle that holds all forces in perfect balance, it holds tension in perfect balance. Most people only see the 2 sides to it. They only see that I have a business or I have an offer and I need to get a client. But what they don't see is the third neutralizing force that enables these two to even meet in the first place. Because it's not just you and a client, right? It's you are operating within a marketplace. You are operating on a higher level. You are operating within the universe. Therefore, at the top of your triangle is God. Are you finding your clients, or does the infinite supply find your clients for you? Does the divine find your clients for you? So if you are transforming your body and you want to go from your old body or your old identity to a new identity, new body, what is going to hold that process in place? At the top of that triangle, I would put love, because as you're going through that transformation, the thing that you will always come back to will be love for yourself. You can't hate your way to change. You will always come back to love, and love will keep the process going. Okay. Now, when it comes to your business, you have three types of income. You have neutral income, and this is the most important income. It's the first and most important income that you will need to generate. This is your total addressable market, your TAM, your audience. Okay. Without an audience, you're not able to sell your products to anyone. So you want to build an audience base. And ideally, you want to do that on an email list so that it doesn't matter if your social media channels are taken away. You can connect always to your audience through your email list. And you want to be, this is neutral income. It hasn't turned into actual income. Maybe somebody's never bought from you. Like most of the people in your audience haven't bought anything from you. But every single person in there is following your journey, and there's a percentage within that group that will say, hey, I want to work with you at some point in time. So the more that you grow your audience, the more that you grow your neutral income. Then you start with developing active income. You start saying, hey, I have one-on-one sessions. You want to work with me on a one-on-one basis. But active income requires your full presence, your time, your full energy. So you have limited resources, right, around that. But active income is necessary, especially in the beginning, because as you start to work with your clients one-on-one, you give them homework, you start to pick up on the patterns across all of your clients. You start to see what works, what doesn't. You're developing a method, a methodology for you that works with your clients. Now you can take that method and you can start to build passive income by creating a course that teaches other people the method at a much lower cost, because you can create a group course. So there are three types of income on this triangle. Okay. There are also, law of three states of flow. So most people think they're in the flow state with time when they're like active. They're writing, they're creating, they're producing something. They think they're in the flow state. But there's three states. 33% of your time should be spent in passive, which is receiving information. So that would be you watching a YouTube video, how to create a website, you watching a TED talk, you learning something, you listening to this today. This is, you are passive and I am active. You are feminine and I am masculine in this exchange. But together we are held within a neutral force. And this is time where you are consuming and you're receiving. Then you're going to go away and you're going to do something with that. You're going to create something of your own. You're going to write. You're going to start working on your website. You're going to start creating. You're going to start being active, time, energy, you doing something. But then there's 33% of your time that you want to be spending in neutral. Neutral is when nothing is coming in and nothing is going out. Nope, you're not listening to a podcast, not listening to music, nothing. You're sitting in nature, you're going for a walk, you're washing the dishes, you're doing something where you are in a neutral state. At this state is where the divine can enter the chat, is where the divine comes in, where ideas that you could have never figured out with your mind alone will arrive, where solutions will arrive. Neutral time is time with the divine. And it's time that is like, should be built into your day. Just like I like for me driving with no music, no sound, no podcast, nothing, just driving in silence. All the ideas, everything starts to become clear in that neutral time. So the triangle is this beautiful sacred symbol that symbolizes that we always have on one side this active, affirming, desiring impulse that is masculine, that is the solar, that is the electric, that is the sperm. And then we always have what is the passive, the feminine, that is also the denying force, that is the lunar, and that is the feminine, and that is the passive. And this is what receives. This is what is transformed, but never destroyed in the process. So you have electric and you have magnetic. So when Tesla was inventing the electric coil, he had electricity. He had understood that there was magnetism required to attract the electricity. But these two things alone would conflict and destroy each other without something that would hold them in place, which was the light bulb. So this would be like the egg, the sperm, the egg, and the womb, the sun, the moon, and the universe, all holding everything in perfect balance. This is like when the Hermetics said there is no such thing as one truth. There are only half truths. So you come with one opinion. I have another truth. I have another version of that. But we can come together knowing that we are two perspectives as part of one whole. We can see from a higher truth that there are two sides, two truths that can coexist at the same time. So it's a really beautiful, powerful symbol. And we'll go into how we work with it now. Okay. The next law that you need to understand is how energy flows. How energy flows. Like everything is vibration, and that vibration is not random. If imagine just like infinite vibrations, it would be absolute chaos. And that is what the quantum field has, this pure potential. It has absolute infinite chaos. But then there is a structure that starts to bring that energy, that vibration into a pattern. And if you've ever seen, like now they're starting to track birds when they sing the bird song, and the bird song will follow a pattern, right? A structure. How does each bird from each species know that when they open their mouth, there is a song that will come out of them that follows a specific geometric structure? There is infinite universal intelligence that is flowing through the bird and entering into a structure that exists. And the bird just allows this impulse, this note, the divine, to move through it. And a perfect, ordered, harmonious song emerges from the bird. That is us when we stop overthinking. That is us when we get out of our own way. There is a structure that wants to flow through us. And that moves, and this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. Like the more and more you get into this, the more you like fall to your knees in awe at the perfection, the order, the complexity, the layers of this whole universe of source. There is this pattern that follows every creative process. From when the universe was created on day one to you standing at the threshold of wanting to create your spiritual business, wanting to create beautiful art, wanting to write something, you stand at the same place where the universe started, which is the initial inhale. And then you set the intention of what you want to create. And what that does is it sounds a vibration. It sounds the vibration do. And the universe carries you. The universe will carry you for the first 2 steps. And then you're going to hit some points. Wherever the triangle hits the circle, you're going to hit points where that energy wants to go off course. And it's going to need you to bring a new level of consciousness to the process so that it can continue until you have completed your creative project. This is by design. There are 2 gaps, 2 places where your process gets real hard. And at this point, it feels like the devil comes in, resistance comes in. The inner critic gets loud, doubt comes in. Am I the one to do this? Maybe this was never meant to be through me. Maybe I'll just make it smaller. Maybe I'll make it more like hers. Maybe I'll make it more like this. And the original frequency of the work that you wanted to create, that you set out to create, starts to deviate and go off course. But if you know that this is coming, you can consciously move through it and allow the song that wants to be sung through you in the greater harmonic universe that we are all part of. There is a song that wants to move through you at this point in time, and you are the instrument, and that energy wants to flow through you. And that energy flows like music. It follows the same. If you look at a piano has 2 semitones. This is the same flow within your creative project. As above, so below. It's in all levels of creation. All levels of creation will follow an octave. And an octave is going to go like this. If you take that this whole circle represents the law of one, wholeness, and you divide this circle by the 7 steps in an octave, you will get 0.142857, which flows like this. That's a flow of energy, okay? And why is it called an octave? Because an octave means 8, but there's actually 7 steps. It's because once it hits 8, it returns, once it hits, okay, it goes like this, 1, it goes back to 1. And it always returns back at a higher level, at a higher frequency. Okay, so this is the process that energy moves. And what we need to know is that there are 7 steps and there are 2 gaps that we need to be conscious of. And that all of this is held within a circle. the circle representing the whole, the circle representing what we are held within. It is the return to wholeness, the return to God. One became two for the joy of becoming one again. And it's not just a circle, it's a spiral. So this is a 2D image, but really if it was 3D, you would see this spiral out. It would spiral, 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 meaning it's increasing its frequency with every time you complete the process. Every time you follow this system, your creation gets stronger and stronger and stronger. It doubles in frequency. Okay. So where are you now in your octave with what you want to create? If point at this point, top of the triangle, represents 0, the beginning, it also represents 9, the wholeness, completion of your project. Okay. So this is either the beginning, you've decided you want to start a spiritual business, or you've decided I want to create beautiful art. Okay, that would mean you're at point 0. Point 1, so do, then we go to re. Point 1 is always you have set the intention. And this part of the process is part of what we call like the white line of magic, because this is where things feel exciting. This is where you have the vision. This is where you're creating the vision board and you can see how big this vision can actually be. And you get really excited about this phase of your work. This is white magic. It's willing something into being. I can see this beautiful, powerful, impactful school that is changing lives that I want to create. I can see myself as the greatest teacher. Okay. This is where you set the intention and you set it high. Okay. This is the original frequency. Then you go to point 2, do, re, mi, and you start to say, okay, if I want to create a school or if I want to start a business, what do I need? What do I need? What do I need to do? What do I need to prepare? What do I need to create? What do I need to learn? Okay, still exciting, still getting excited. Then it's time to sit down, write the book. It's time to pay up and invest in your tools that you need for your business. It's time to hire someone. It's time to start to embody the vision. And at point 3 is the first point of this triangle, meaning this is our first shock. This happens 1/3 of the way through your creative project. You've started, you got super excited about it, and then you hit point 3. And if you don't know that point 3 is coming, it can throw you off course for months. Okay? Or you start to tell yourself, yeah, that was actually very ambitious of me to think like that, a bit audacious. Who was I? Maybe I'm not cut out for this. I don't really know if I'm a writer. You sit down to try write and you think, oh, I'm actually a bad writer. What did I think? I could write a book. I'm not a writer. Resistance, the wall of resistance, doubt. Okay. Yep. Months. Okay. Months, years, people go off course. Okay. This is where my clients like message me and they go, point 3. I see what you mean. And I know exactly what they mean. I know exactly how to help them. I know exactly what they mean when they say they're at point 3. Okay. At point 3, you are going to need external support. You are going to need something from the outside to help you see clearly. This might be a friend, a mentor, somebody who can help see your work clearly for what it is and hold you accountable, help you recommit to your original idea, your original frequency. You want to go back to the original frequency and say, my intention was this. Why am I making it smaller? Why am I making it more palatable? Why am I making it more commercial, thinking it needs to be like this, thinking it needs to be like somebody else's? Go back, ask yourself, what does this work? How big can this work get? What does this work look like at its fullest, highest expression? Okay? Don't make it smaller. Don't listen to the devil. Okay? The lower mind is AKA the devil. The resistance is the devil. It's the darkness. Now you're hitting the black line of magic. Okay? This is where all the doubts and the fears are coming up. You are also furthest away from the divine at this point. And you're going to have to go through a crossing to the other side. That is why, by absolute perfect design, this is no accident that this resistance is showing up right now. So most of the time we think like, oh, it's me. There's something wrong with me. I need to find what's blocking me. Clearly there's a block and there's something wrong. I need to fix it, right? So we start to make it about us. It is not you. This is law. You are going to hit this block. All the doubts and fears are going to come up to the surface because unconditional love, the divine source, creator, whatever you want to call it, wants to co-create with you, wants this to come into being, wants to co-create with you. If there wasn't this friction, if there wasn't this resistance that you were up against, would you be calling in divine support? Would you need faith? Would you need trust? Would you learn any lessons about what it means to be in your power? Would you learn the truth of who you are? Would you learn what you're truly capable of? Would you uncover the truth and the power within you? That is what resistance is designed to do. It's designed to bring out, sharpen your tools, sharpen you, stretch you. It's building you into the person who matches the frequency of the work that wants to come through you. So it's expanding capacity. And it is at this time that you reach out back to the divine and you call in higher assistance. I can't do this on my own. I need help. I need your guidance. I need support. Show me what the next move is. Show me what the next step is. Help me face this fear. I know this fear is not from you, so help me face this fear. Help me walk alongside this fear. Help me move forward, even though I feel fear. This is by design that you are now calling in divine assistance to walk with you across this threshold of your creation. So now we're going into facing our specific limitations. So every single one of us came in as a soul and came in with our certain set of conditions and constraints. So we all have our own version of that. Okay, we have certain conditions and constraints we need to face, certain fears, certain shadows we need to face. We're also going to come up against limitations like how much time we have, customer limitations, how much time they have, how much money they have, how much money we have, what resources, what space, what environment. All of these kind of limitations come up. Now it's time to face them and say, I only have 2 hours a week to work on this. Therefore, I'm going to set aside 2 hours and I'm going to create something that works for me within those 2 hours. If I'm going to do a teaching school, I'm going to do 2 hour lessons once a week because that's what I have from a capacity point of view. Maybe you have, like you're homeschooling kids and you're busy with your kids. Okay, how are you going to work around that and come up with a creative solution? Do you include your kids in your videos? Do you have somebody that comes and teaches the kids art while you teach your class? There are going to be real, practical limitations with whatever it is that you want to create. You're going to figure a way out around around this limitation, and that is going to create your unique style. So if you imagine that God is infinite, unlimited, came down to experience limitation, finite. Therefore, a God loves a limitation. Therefore, you are going to learn to love your limitations. You are going to learn to love your limitations. Okay. I had I've had many spiritual initiations, but one of them was like just the most insane face rash that wouldn't go away. It was like activated rosacea that was insane. I can show you a picture. But I was like, I don't want to be on camera like this. This is like just painful. So I started doing faceless videos on TikTok, and those faceless videos blew up. I took a limitation. I said, okay, how do I still show up on social media without showing my face? I don't want to show my face. And that's my limitation. And it turned out to be the coolest thing I ever created. So you have a limitation that is going to help create your design. That is going to help create what you came here to create in the way that you came here to create it. Okay. So most people will get stuck here and say, oh, I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the space. I don't have the whatever it is. I got to speak on camera, whatever it is. Okay. Face it and then find your way around it. Okay. Now we're at point 5. Point 5 is the point of no return. This is where you are preparing. And point 5, let me tell you, will take the longest. Okay. Let's say you're launching a spiritual business. You are going to need to prepare your platforms that you're going to use. You're going to need to prepare your methodology, your work, your actual body of work that you want to start to put out. You're going to have to start doing some writing, some content. Are you going to prepare some emails, photo shoot? What do you need? Website, sales page. You're preparing. Okay. Preparing to launch what you are ready to launch. And that you've done your best. This is the thing, okay? So when it comes to building a business, we've been sold 2 ideas. We've been sold on the idea that the business world tells us, which is that you need better systems, you need to be cranking out content, and you need to be hustling, grinding, pushing, forcing, right? Sheer will. That's the business side. That is like white energy. Just push, push, push till you exhaust yourself because you're relying on your own energy. The other side of it that we've been sold is like the spiritual community is you just have to believe more. You just have to trust more. You just have to have faith more. Just wait, right? Which is like just waiting and waiting and wishing and surrendering more. And God is watching this like, babe, it is your turn to take action, to make a move. I'm waiting on you. Okay, I need you. This is a co-creation thing. So neither of these work on their own. There has to be another way. Can't just force, can't just will, and can't just surrender, right? We need to know that there are times when we put in effort and we go first, and there are times when we do surrender, when it is out of our control. We do our best, we've done the best that we can do, and then we let it go. Let go and let God. But then the big question is, when? When do I surrender? When do I effort? And how do I do that when I'm running a business? What does that look like? Okay. That is what this symbol gives us. So in the beginning, at top, you are receiving inspiration. You are receiving downloads. You're receiving ideas. Okay. So you're receptive. You're open. You receive an idea. Then it's up to you to decide that you are going to do something about this. Sounds the note do. Okay? Do. Domina, God, you've decided. I'm going to create a spiritual business. Then you set the intention and you go through the process. Okay? You are taking effort. You are using your free will and you are starting to take action. You take action, you keep moving it along, you do your best to prepare everything. And then at point 6, it is now time for you to present to the world this new version of you, to present your work that has come through you, to launch your offers and say, here's what I've created, to show your art and say, here's what I've created. Now, this is like an orange tree. Okay, an orange tree. What is the furthest thing that an orange tree produces? It produces a flower. The orange tree does its best, reaches its branches, receives the sun, creates flowers. And then it is now surrendered to the bees that will come to the flower, pollinate it to make it into an orange. That is letting go and letting God. That is your work. Your work is the flower. You have done everything you can. You are ready. You put out your offer to the best of your ability. You've done the effort. Now it is time to surrender. God, let this work find the people that it is meant to. Let it go. Let it go. Trust. You've done everything you can. Let it go. Now, point 6 is another shock. Point 6 is probably the toughest teacher and the one that most people aren't really aware of when they come up against it. At this point, you've been working on your original frequency idea, this big idea. Once you release it out into the world, you are no longer the same person. People will now see you as in your full power, what you're really capable of. There's a version of you that this work is allowed to be even greater than what you could have imagined. And that means that there is an even greater version of you that comes out on the other side. Just like nature, nothing is ever destroyed. It is only ever transformed in the process. It is only ever transformed in the process. So your work, this octave that you are on, is also transforming you in the process. And so at this point, it's not about external support. This is an inner surrender. This is within you where you are going to surrender to the work, where you are going to say to the work, what is your greatest, fullest expression? how can I get out of the way of this work getting out into the world? Help me get out of the way. Help me let that old version identity die, right? The death. This is the death portal. This is our death. Okay, this is our going through the darkness, going through the black. This is where you are rebirthed. You present yourself, your new version, your business, your projects without dimming its light at its fullest capacity. And then we hit point 8. And at point 8, we always, this is an uncomfortable step that most people want to skip. Point 8 is we're going to review the process. We're going to look at the data. We're going to say, how many people ended up buying my offer? This is what I hoped for. How many people actually bought the offer? Why do I think that is? What at step 5 could I have done more? Could I have changed? Could I have refined that I think would have got more people? And then you don't need to just think about it on your own. Now, at this point, you can also ask the people that your clients, your audience, and say, what do you guys like? What's your feedback? Give it to me. Like, give me your criticism. I eat this criticism. I love it. It helps me build a better product because now I'm going to take all of this, I'm going to integrate all of this, and I'm going to go back, return to the original source, and I'm going to go again. And every time I go again, it's a spiral that gets stronger and stronger and becomes unbreakable. So in business, the language that they would use is that this is a flywheel effect. What you have created, the system that you have created it within, has now taken a life of its own and it's become self-sustaining. So every time that you go to create a new project, you follow the same process and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger every time you turn the wheel. Okay, Michelle, I'm now at 6 with my sacred song creations. Ooh, okay, point 6. So you're at point 6. Are you experiencing tension? Are you experiencing resistance, wanting to hold back, wanting not to fully release it? And here's where point 6 will show up in a really sneaky way. It's going to show up as refinement. You need one more thing you need to improve. You need to add one more layer to that teaching. You need to add one more thing. So you want to refine. It's not ready yet, okay? Or like there's sneaky little ways that this is going to show up. You need confirmation or you need permission from someone. You need one more confirmation. You need one more credential. You need to fix this. You need this always something that stops you from releasing your work. Yes, I cannot present it out loud, the perfection. Okay, so this is where the Enneagram is beautiful and objective. Okay, it's objective. Now, when you look at this, you need to just look at point 5, the point before where you are. Point 5 was prepare to the best of your ability at this point in time. Okay? And the thing that frees me the most is this. I know, okay, that I'm going to go around the circle again. And every time I go around the circle, sorry, I'm getting a weird notification from TikTok. Oh. Okay, every time I go around the circle, it gets stronger and stronger and better. So the first time I go around, I'm like, I'm creating the best that I can, the best of my ability at this time. And I know this creation is only going to get stronger and only going to get better and only going to get more potent and more powerful. So the release thing becomes, there's less pressure. It's not the only thing I'm ever going to create. Like, look at Drake. Drake just released 3 albums with like something like 48 songs. The thing about him is that he's going to just produce and create. He's in this creation mode. 1 or 2 of the songs are actually going to ever be a hit. He's produced like hundreds of songs, but he he takes the pressure off by releasing so much and just knowing that one or two of them is going to be great, okay? Or people are going to like it. So take the pressure off, knowing that this is your first time around the circle, and you're going to go again, and you're going to go again, and you're going to go again. So release it out into the world, okay? Now, if we say, as a very practical example, you want to build a profitable spiritual or teaching business from scratch. We're going to go here. That's our decision, okay? And point one, we're going to set the intention. We're going to say very specifically, I want to make at least $100,000 a year off my gifts, this gift that I have, this passion that I have, this art that I have. Now, remember when I said 1 divided by 7 equals 0.1428571. This is where you can use the Enneagram. In one way, you can use it as an objective clockwise map that you are following clockwise, okay? The second way that you can use the Enneagram is planning ahead, being the creator, the visionary, and planning ahead. And you plan ahead by going, okay, at point 1, I set my intention, done. 4, my limitations. What are my limitations? I've never done this before. I don't know what to teach. Customers don't have endless time, don't have endless money. Okay, so I need to create something for them. And then I'm going to go based on my limitations. What tools do I need? So based on my limitations, what tools do I need? Okay, if my clients don't know me, I'm going to need to show them what I do. Therefore, I'm going to need to create a lead magnet, meaning my first free offer that people are going to get to experience the work with. Okay, if you want to scale a business, if you want to grow a business, you have to rip the Band-Aid of creating a lead magnet. Otherwise, it's stuck in that one-to-one, like it doesn't grow beyond the one-to-one. So if you want to grow beyond the one-to-one, you're going to have to practice with a lead magnet, okay? So tools. Then we're going to go to point 8. Now, point 8 is where we're asking ourselves, planning ahead, once the client has worked with me, how do I retain this client? How do I retain the benefits of this process? How do I retain the benefits? So a client has worked with me, maybe they've worked with me one-on-one. Now, do I have a second offer to offer them? Do I have a way to keep their contact details? Like, how do I retain the benefit? What's next in their journey with me? Do I have another offer that keeps them within my world, right? That's why planning ahead, like with retention, how do I build a community? Do I build a membership? What does this look like? Then we go down to 5 and we say, what do I need to prepare? Let me make a checklist, like a preparation checklist. What is the launch presentation going to be like? What is the marketing going to look like? What is the branding going to look like? And we go back to 1. So that is how you can use the process of 7 to plan ahead. And then once you've got all that information, now you work with it like a clockwise, step-by-step roadmap where you are in your process, okay? So then you can take another Enneagram because your Enneagrams are going to change, right? So that would be your Enneagram for building a profitable business from scratch. Then you'll do a different one for scaling a profitable business because things are going to change, right? So maybe you want to make more money and you want to have more passive offerings. So you're going to need to launch, you're going to need to learn the art of launching, and you're going to need to get better and better at content creation. right? Which is like facing the limitations of fear of selling, speaking on camera, getting new to technology, tech stacking, all these kinds of things. So there's going to be new levels and new levels to everything that you want to create. So based on all of this, where are you in your octave? We have 1-6. Where are you in your octave of what you're currently creating? Six. Layla, it's time. Yes, where is it, girl? Where is it? I'm waiting. So now the question is to the work. Okay, Michelle, for the brand, okay, perfect. I'm at 1. So Michelle, you're at 1. You've set the intention. The next step is, what are your limitations for the brand? Go down to 4, and then go back to 2 and say, okay, now what do I need to learn? What do I need to learn? Where are my gaps? What do I need to learn? Okay, currently at 1, wanting to create something new. Okay, perfect. So for you, the key here is like intention. Clarify your intention. You know, everything starts with vibration, and intention is that first vibration. 4. Okay, 4. Okay, after 3. So you're, oh, Hanan. Okay, so you're in the threshold. You're in the threshold. Okay, so it's time to start to face your fears and prepare. Okay. Emma, between 1 and 2. Okay, so now with that knowledge, Emma, you know that there's a 3. And you know that there's a 3 coming up after you started to gather your tools and face your limitations. Okay. So knowing that, that 3 is going to require a higher level of consciousness from you. It's going to recommit back, keep recommitting back to that original intention. Between 3 and 4. Okay. See, higher level of consciousness. This is where we need to rise above the resistance. The resistance, when we really start to see it like this, we see that it's balancing out by nature. There's going to be a desiring force. You want to create something. By nature, by law. It's not about you, it's not personal, it's the universal law, harmonic law. There's going to be a counter force that is going to deny and say, no, you can't have this. And then you're going to have reconciling, holy reconciling, which is, I see that I want this, yes. And I see that there is resistance to it. There is fear. And I know that I am held by the divine. I know that I can call on the divine. So I can walk forward towards my greatest, bringing out, allowing this work to come through me. If I get out of the way, and I'm going to walk with the fear that I feel, I'm going to walk with the anxiety that I feel, I'm going to do it anyway. I see it from a higher level perspective. I can see it. I've raised above myself. I can see myself. I can see I'm stuck in this fear or this negative loop cycle. And I'm choosing to walk forward. And then I'm going to look at the Enneagram and say, what is the next step? I'm ready to take the next step. And I'm not going to make my creation smaller. I'm not going to go backwards. In fact, you can't go backwards. So that is the beauty of these laws all coming together. They really are the keys to creation. And the more and more that you work with the symbol, the more and more it will start to feel embodied within you. Anytime you start a creation, you will start to feel the resistance. And then you will know, okay, I've got this force, and there's always a third force. So show me the third force. Show me the third force in this. And this is a roadmap that will tell you when it's time to effort, when it's time to surrender, and when it's time to call in higher assistance. Knowing that in the process, there are going to be shock points. Shock point 3, you need an external pair of eyes on your work. Point 6, inner surrender to the next level of you that wants to come through you, the next level that this work is actually calling for. This is how you build a business in alignment with universal law, like in harmony with nature, just like the song of a bird moves through the bird. Like if we were like birds, life would be a lot simpler. We just have minds that overthink things. But if we just allowed this divine infinite intelligence that wants to move through you and be expressed through you, and you are this instrument, and from a much higher level, you are playing a very important part in the bigger picture. So one of the sneaky programs that comes up at point 3 is probably one of the darkest programming, that is nihilism. What's the point? My voice doesn't matter. This isn't going to change anything. Nobody wants to hear this from me. Like this nihilism, this hopelessness is a programming that wants to make you feel like it's pointless. Whatever it is that you're creating wants you to question and doubt whatever it is that you're creating, right? So the antidote to that is knowing that whatever you do matters. It's the butterfly effect, right? Like it matters. It's important. Your voice matters. Your work is important. And it's, you know, what's very liberating? It's not about you. It's really, at some point, it's not about you. It's about work that wants to move through you. It's about expression that wants to move through you. It's about what the divine is calling into existence right now. And you are the one who can hold the frequency for that. Let it flow through you. That's like what this symbol is showing us. Do you guys have any questions before we end? Let's see if we have anything here. Okay, I've done this before, but have taken a break. Okay, so yes, okay, Hanan, where were you? You at 4. Okay, I've taken a break and now nervous about my limitations. Okay, what are the limitations? Can you list out the limitations? I'll forget my words. Okay, so is this when it comes to showing up on camera? I'll forget my words. I won't change anything. Yeah. It's not deep enough. Oof. Yeah. These are the thoughts we have. This is the resistance. This is the wall. Okay. Are people feeling it? Mm. Okay. So for each one of these things, I want you to use this as an opportunity to see truth from distortion. When we're in our heads get full of things that are not true. Okay, distortion. And when we write it down, we can see it clearly. Okay. And when we get in touch with the emotion behind all of this, we get to the real truth of what this moment is here to teach us. Okay. So if we feel like for example, I'll forget my words. Okay. Does your client, does your audience, does your customer need you to be perfect? Do they want you to be perfect? Is your work better because you are perfect? Does perfection exist? Or does your client, customer, audience want connection? Do they want connection or do they want perfection? What do you think will create a better experience with you? What do you think will create a better piece of content, a better piece of work? One where the intention is perfection, one where the intention is connection. Okay. It won't change anything. Is that true? Is it true that your work won't change anything? Did your work change something for you? Has it changed something for a client? Start questioning away at these. It's not deep enough. What emotion, what does that feel like inside when you say those words? What's behind that belief? And are people feeling it? Okay. So is it enough? Is it enough? Am I enough? Right? This comes up. Is what I care about, are other people going to care about it? Is this work transformational enough? Right? Wherever your work is, whatever you're called to create is for a reason, because it's going to meet somebody where they're at. Whatever level it is, it's going to meet somebody where they're at. So the calling to create something, it's not about us, it's that what it is needed. Somebody needs it, therefore there's a calling to create it. You receive the call because there's somebody who needs it. Okay. I created something as suggested by others. That's working. And I did that, got some results and things created, but now don't feel like it's for me. Oh, this is a very real one. And this is a tough one because you've created something that works, right? So there's something to lose. But the thing that you are going to lose is all that was false to begin with, right? This process got you to where you are right now. So amazing, right? Like gratitude for that, honoring that. Now there's a new version of you that's being called. So now you sit in that truth, that discomfort of what are you actually being called to create right now? And that is going to probably mean that there's a new identity that comes with it. And that means that thoughts like, are my audience still going to hang around? Am I going to lose everyone? Right? If I become my true, full, authentic self, will I still be loved? And all of these questions come back to like, will I be loved being my full self? Am I enough? Like most of all of it comes back down to that. And the antidote to that is unconditional love. Top of the triangle, unconditional love. So no matter what. So if I lose my whole audience, if I lose sales overnight, so what? I have the third force. I have the third force. It's not just me and my clients face to face. There's a third force involved. Connect to the third, call in the higher perspective, call in the third force. Unconditional love solves most of these problems. It's like, can I honor myself by doing what I said I would do? Can I do this in devotion to who I am becoming? Can I create this because I'm doing it for source, the divine, for the greater picture? for the collective, for raising, somebody's 369 was raised collective frequency. So if I get out of the way, can I do it for that? And can I do it from love? Am I doing it from love, or am I doing it from fear? Am I creating from love, or am I creating from fear? Love is going to be like heart-led work, is going to be the work that actually starts to, I know that for a lot of people who have been creating like soul-led work, heart-led work for so long, feel like maybe it's been hard and they aren't getting the recognition that they feel like they deserve. But when I tell you that the frequency on the planet that is shifting, anybody that is trying to force or hustle or do something that is not in alignment, it is not going to work anymore. It is not going to work anymore, and people are going to lose their minds. Like people that are just in their masculine are going to be losing their minds because everything that they used to do, that everything that used to work, no longer does. We're moving to a time where the people that are going to cut through are people that are leading from unconditional love, from their heart. They're creating things from their heart. They're creating community that is like coming from a clean frequency. No distortion, no manipulation, none of that old paradigm stuff that's collapsing. That doesn't work anymore. It has to be clean energy, and clean energy means it's aligned energy. Just because it's not perfect, it does not mean it's not meaningful. Just because it's not perfect does not mean it's not meaningful. Yes, a saying that gets me through when I am uncomfortable with what I create. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Just because it's not perfect doesn't mean it's not meaningful. Okay, so here's something, like, really think about this. The internet right now is flooded with perfect content, right? Content that was created by AI. The words are perfectly scripted. The visuals, perfect. Perfect. Does it mean anything to you? Did it make you feel something? Does it have soul? I think that moving forward, we are going to be looking for work that has human error. We're going to be looking for typos because we know that person wrote that email themselves. We're going to be looking for art that there's something human about it. There's a smudge, there's a this, there's that, there's something in it that shows that it was created by a human, that is going to make it so much more valuable. Doubts are how this new thing work. How will this new thing work? Do I have tools? Okay, do I have tools? Do I have tools? Okay, so question is, what are your current limitations and what tools and skills do you need? Right? Like that's where you wanna list that out. What do you need to learn? Do you need to learn copywriting? Do you need to learn how to, I mean, now you've got AI, but do you need to learn embodiment? Do you need to work with a coach? Do you need to practice something more? Do you need to practice speaking to camera? Start collecting the tools and the skills that you're going to need. My limitations are tech tools. Yeah. Technicalities. Yeah. 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 So tech tools, like that's a big one. A lot of people are just like overwhelmed with it, like, wow. But the thing is, you're getting so many amazing tools right now that simplify your life. Like I started working with Beacon's AI, and honestly, it has never been like, wow. It streamlines the process of creating digital offers like beautifully. So I know that they can be intimidating, but I promise you, it's like you just need to spend a little time with the tool, watch the YouTube videos that you need to watch, spend time with it, and you'll start to develop a different relationship with it. It'll start to become like your ally, your friend in business. Analysis paralysis, and go back to my comfort zone. Analysis paralysis. Yeah. Old job, old life, old identity. I will have to show the new me to the world, which is scary AF. Yeah, yeah. That's point six. That's point six. So point six is now the inner surrender, where you are going to sit in conversation with the work. And you're going to say to the work, how, okay, this is the thing. Imagine, and this is true, the work has a life force energy of its own. Okay, it has a life force energy of its own. It wants to come through you. Ask it, how can I get out of the way? Ask it, how can it come out in its greatest form? And then get very comfortable with the death and the rebirth of the new identity. Now, one of the greatest tools for this is exposure therapy, right? Have you guys heard of the term exposure therapy? It's basically where you expose yourself slowly to situations that make you uncomfortable, but in those situations, you're revealing a part of this new identity. And you're just showing a part of this new identity to someone, can be one person, can be something you share on social media. You don't delete it afterwards, you share it. And then you tell yourself, see, I didn't die. Nobody died. I'm still here. I'm safe. Like, it didn't kill me. So if it didn't kill me, I can do the next thing. I can do it again. I can do it again. I can do it again. I can do it again until you build literally nervous system capacity of this new identity, meaning you are now able to hold the work that is greater than you expected. And that comes with a responsibility, that comes with a feeling of, if you think about, I often think about like actors and singers, and like you think about Michael Jackson and how humble they are with the work that they create. Some of them, okay? Some of them, the ones that get it, where they say, this wasn't me. The song came through me. Like I was just acting on this creative impulse, but it wasn't me. And there's like a humility to that. There's like a bowing down to the work. Like I'm creating this in love and devotion for something bigger than me. This helps me a lot. So I'm realizing my initial vision is bigger than I thought at 6. Yeah. So getting the system refined, super close now, such a strong push now, though to get my workout, it's driving me now every day. Yeah. Almost becoming painful to not get workout. That's yes. Yet allowing myself to surrender to the universal pressured flow current, putting deadlines now to deliver. Yeah. Yeah. That's the perfect balance of that masculine and that feminine, right? Like the feminine left to her own devices. I mean, she's a goddess. She wants to like visualize around all day and dream and vision, and like that's the white part. That's where we start, okay? Then we go through this dark threshold of going into our shadows and our fears, and we come out the other side stronger so that we can carry the work to the other side, so that we can carry the work to, the final threshold. So sometimes it also helps to look back on the journey, like to look back on what you've done to get to where you are now, to remind yourself, oh, you know what? I am this person now. I am this identity now. Yes, my songs are all channeled and us being the vessel. So when someone asks me what vocal exercises you do to sing, and I do nothing, I have never learned music or singing. That's incredible. I just empty myself. Actually, it was Layla who asked me, wow, wow. Yeah. More people need to know about that. You should talk about that. More people need to know that when they basically just when you realize that there is a flow, a current that wants to flow through you, like it takes the pressure off of you doing it yourself. It's like, oh, it's not just me carrying this. It's not just me carrying this business. It's not just me trying to find clients. It's not just me like trying to build this business. Like I'm doing this as a co-creation. And so to honor the co-creation, my partner in business is source, God, the divine. Like who finds me clients? God. Who is my supply? God. So I'm never alone in my business. So at every point of the triangle, yeah, God is my business partner. Yeah. I mean, even before this call, before doing a live, before doing like speaking on camera or something, and then your body gets nervous and then you get anxiety. It's like, oh, this is not about me. Okay. What do you want to say? All right. Use me, speak through me. Like, tell me what to do. What's my next step? How do I walk through this? How do I create and what is the best format for this offering? What is the best format for this idea? How many people should I invite to this project? Like, ask it all your questions. All your questions. Okay, beautiful. All right, guys, that was the introduction to the Enneagram. If you have any more questions, just hit me up on email, Instagram, TikTok. Amazing. Okay, I'm so glad it helped. Okay, cool. And I'm gonna write some more, I've got this is the thing. With the creation process, what I've noticed is when I stop creating, when I hold back, I get this build up where it feels overwhelming. Okay. And then I get stagnated and I don't move. As soon as I open my channel and I say I want to create an offer, I want to create an article, a podcast, something, it's like there's creative energy that has a place to flow. So right now I'm writing, I'm just writing, I'm writing, and there's stuff coming through and stuff coming through, and I'm just letting it flow. I'm writing articles. Are they perfect? No. Like there's so many mistakes in my articles. Are they, do I like the branding? Have I written everything perfectly? No, 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 no. Like it's not where the highest level it could be. But it's coming out. It's coming out. It's coming out. And it's getting better and better and better every single time. I know that it will get better and better every single time I do it.